All right, so let's get right into it. We've got a fascinating request for a deep dive this time around.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It's all about YouTube's subscriber growth, hitting those milestones, and you specifically wanted a closer look at a video claiming you can get to 1,000 subscribers in just 3 days.
3 days. That's pretty quick.
Right. It sounds almost too good to be true.
Definitely sounds like a shortcut.
So we dug into this video from a creator named Sonia, and she breaks down this method that she claims actually works.
Okay, interesting. So what's the secret sauce? What's the magic bullet she's promising?
Well, she calls it her one thing solution, and that one thing is
Let me guess, shorts.
you got it, YouTube Shorts. But there's a bit of a twist. She's not talking about creating original shorts.
Ooh, this is where it gets interesting. I'm intrigued.
It actually involves using other people's content, specifically from Instagram.
Hold on, repurposing Instagram content for YouTube Shorts. How does that work?
So she advises finding popular Instagram content like wedding videos or cooking tutorials, things that tend to go viral.
Okay, so she's tapping into what's already working on another platform.
Exactly. And then, get this, she says, to download those videos, strip away any Instagram branding, and then re-upload them as your own shorts on YouTube.
Wait, so she's suggesting straight up taking someone else's content and passing it off as your own. I mean, that sounds like a recipe for copyright strikes.
I know, right? It immediately raises a lot of red flags. And to be fair, Sonia does acknowledge the copyright issue. She talks about ways to avoid getting flagged, like adding music and adjusting the visuals.
But is that really enough to make it okay? It's still fundamentally someone else's creative work.
Right, you can't just slap a new coat of paint on something and call it yours.
It's like that age-old question. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, did it make a sound? If you re-upload someone else's video with a few tweaks and call it your own, is it really original content? I don't think so.
That's a great analogy. It definitely gets into some murky ethical territory.
And even beyond the legal and ethical concerns, I'm curious about the long-term effectiveness of this approach.
Yeah, will those subscribers stick around once you start posting your own original content? Or are they just there for those borrowed viral snippets? Sonia kind of addresses this, actually. She says the goal is to hit that 2,000 subscriber mark and then pivot to your own original content.
So she's admitting that this shortcut has a built-in expiration date.
It's like she's saying, use this to get in the game, but then you need to change your strategy. But even if you pivot later, there's still that ethical question lingering. Is it okay to build your early success on someone else's work, even temporarily?
Right. And we can't forget about YouTube's copyright system. It's a constantly moving target. What works today might be a penalty tomorrow.
And Sonia does try to address that. She talks about adding music, tweaking the visuals, essentially trying to make the content look different enough to avoid those copyright strikes.
But I wonder if those changes are always enough. It seems like a bit of a gamble.
She specifically recommends sticking to popular royalty-free music and focusing on visual edits rather than using the original audio from those Instagram videos. She even suggests using trending songs from YouTube's audio library, those audio challenges almost like a double whammy of trying to avoid copyright issues while also boosting visibility.
It's a clever tactic, no doubt.
Hmm.
But you're still building on someone else's creative foundation, which, again, raises those ethical questions.
It's like she's more focused on not getting caught than on respecting intellectual property, which is a bit concerning.
Absolutely. And remember, YouTube is always updating its algorithms and policies. What works today might not fly tomorrow.
So there's definitely a lot to unpack here. We've talked about the potential upsides and the very real risks of Sonia's method.
It seems like a shortcut with some serious baggage attached.
But even she admits relying solely on shorts for income isn't sustainable. She claims creators will only make tens of dollars from them, which isn't much.
It really reinforces this idea that shorts are great for visibility and initial growth, but they're not necessarily the moneymaker some people think they are.
She's all about those long-form videos for real YouTube revenue. She even says the only video that will actually pay you very well when it comes to YouTube is your long video.
It definitely points to the need for a more balanced approach. Use shorts for that initial boost, but then focus on crafting those high-quality, long-form videos that can actually generate some real income. It's almost like a short-term sprint paired with a long-distance marathon.
So using Sonia's method is like that initial burst of energy to get you going, but you're going to need a lot more stamina for the long haul.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even if those borrowed shorts get you some views and subscribers, it's still the quality and originality of your own work that will determine if your channel truly thrives.
So what we have here is a very tempting shortcut, but it comes with big risks and some serious ethical questions.
It's a good reminder. that there are no easy solutions in the world of online content creation. Building a successful YouTube channel takes time, effort, and dedication to creating original content that truly resonates with your audience.
Sonia does offer some more specific advice about how to use this method and try to minimize the risks. So let's break that down before we draw any final conclusions.
Yeah, let's take a closer look at her process and see what else we can learn from her experience.
She actually walks viewers through each step, downloading the Instagram content, stripping the branding, and re-uploading it as shorts. Her whole focus is on speed and efficiency. It's almost like a recipe for quick results.
It's like you saying follow these exact steps and you'll see the numbers go up.
Yeah.
It's definitely appealing to creators who are looking for that instant gratification.
She even names specific apps like Instant Downloader and Instagram Downloader to grab that content without the Instagram watermark, and recommends saving the videos straight to your phone so they're ready to upload to YouTube.
She's all about streamlining the process, removing any barriers to entry. It's actually pretty clever.
And then she gets into uploading those downloaded videos as YouTube Shorts, but she stresses that you have to make modifications to avoid those copyright issues. So adding music, adjusting the visuals, trying to disguise that borrowed content as much as possible.
And it's not just about avoiding strikes, it's about creating a sense of originality, even if it's built on someone else's foundation, which, again, gets into some ethically questionable territory.
She even uses this phrase, be very good in posting shorts through your downloads, which really highlights the emphasis on speed and automation. It's less about the content itself and more about gaming the system.
Yeah, it's a bit cynical, but it does reflect a certain reality of online content creation. The algorithms often reward that kind of volume and consistency, even if it's not the most creative approach.
So let's talk music. She recommends using trending tracks from YouTube's audio library for those shorts.
That's smart on a couple of levels. First, it helps mask the original audio from the Instagram video, potentially reducing the risk of copyright issues.
Right, it's like a built-in layer of protection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And second, it aligns your short with what's already popular on YouTube, which could boost its visibility even more.
She even tells viewers to choose from the first 3 most viral songs, which really shows how strategic she is about every single element.
Right.
It's all about maximizing those chances of getting seen.
It's like she's saying, don't just ride the wave, ride the biggest wave you can find.
And of course, titles and hashtags are crucial. She shows viewers how to create a catchy title and use relevant hashtags to make those borrowed shorts as appealing to the algorithm as possible.
It's like she's dressing up that borrowed content in a trendy outfit to make it stand out.
She even goes through the shorts settings, stressing the importance of making them public, allowing remixes and audio use, and enabling comments.
It's all about maximizing engagement. Letting people remix her content could lead to even more exposure. And enabling comments creates that opportunity for discussion and interaction, which can also boost visibility.
It's like she's turning each short into a potential conversation starter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, really, from a strategic standpoint.
So she uploads the short, showing the whole process from start to finish, but then mentions she'll be deleting it later. It's just a demo for her viewers.
It's interesting that she's not keeping it up on her own channel. It's like she's trying to maintain some distance from this tactic, even as she's explaining it.
It's almost like a disclaimer, like, hey, this is how you do it, but I'm not necessarily endorsing it.
Which is kind of understandable given the ethical implications.
And then she encourages viewers to repeat this whole process, uploading 10 to 15 shorts a day. She actually claims you can hit 1,000 subscribers in a single day if you do it right.
Wow, that's a bold claim. It makes you wonder how sustainable that kind of growth really is.
Right. Even if you achieve initial success using this method, what happens next? Do you just keep churning out borrowed content forever? At some point, you're going to need a plan for transitioning to a more sustainable model.
Exactly. One that focuses on original content and building a genuine audience that's actually invested in what you have to offer.
It's clear that Sonia knows how the YouTube algorithm works, especially for shorts. Her methods might be ethically questionable, but they definitely show how to leverage trends, optimize content, and essentially game the system for visibility.
It's like she's figured out how to crack the code, but is it worth sacrificing originality and ethical integrity for that kind of rapid growth? That's the big question.
We've gotten a good look at Sonia's approach, her reasoning, and the steps involved. And honestly, it's complicated. There are no easy answers here.
It's a really important conversation to have, though. We're all navigating this constantly changing world of online content creation, and understanding how algorithmic manipulation works and the ethical considerations that come with it is absolutely crucial.
This deep dive has definitely given us a lot to think about.
For sure. We've uncovered some real insights into how fast YouTube growth can happen, the strategies some creators are using, and the ethical dilemmas those strategies raise. It's a lot to process.
Before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, though, Sonia has a few more pieces of advice to share that I think are worth highlighting.
Oh, I'm all ears.
Huh.
Let's hear what she has to say.
She actually stresses the importance of deleting or at least privatizing those borrowed shorts once you hit that 2,000 subscriber mark. It's like she's acknowledging that they could actually hurt your channel in the long run if you leave them up.
That's fascinating. Almost like she's recognizing the potential damage those borrowed shorts could do to your channel's reputation and future growth if they stay public.
She's adamant about it. She says, don't leave those shorts on your channel. Delete them, private them, or unlist them so that you can start hustling for your watch hour.
That's a crucial point. Watch time is what really matters when it comes to YouTube monetization, not just subscriber count.
And it sounds like she's actually walking the walk. She's in the process of deleting those types of shorts from her own channel. She wants to turn it into her lifestyle channel moving forward.
It makes her advice feel more genuine, right? She's speaking from experience.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she's making some course corrections after seeing the limitations of this borrowed content strategy.
She even goes so far as to say that if you're only relying on shorts to get monetized, at the end of the day, you're going to be making just tens. You're not just going to be making so much money.
That really drives home the limitations of relying solely on shorts for revenue.
Yeah.
You need a more well-rounded content strategy if you want to see any real financial returns.
It's like she's saying, shorts are a great appetizer, but you need a main course to really satisfy your audience and build a sustainable income.
Exactly. And she's very clear about the potential downsides of continuing to use this borrowed content method even after hitting those initial subscriber goals.
She mentions that the audience you attract with those borrowed shorts might not be interested in your original content. It can actually create a disconnect down the line.
It's like attracting a crowd with free samples, but then realizing they're not actually interested in buying your product.
Exactly. So while Sonia initially presented this method as a quick way to get subscribers, she's also recognizing the importance of pivoting away from it to build a more sustainable channel in the long run.
It all comes back to that balance,
Right.
playing the short game versus the long game, and recognizing that real YouTube success isn't just about numbers. It's about building a community around your unique voice and perspective.
It's about creating content that genuinely connects with an audience and provides real value, something that goes beyond just fleeting entertainment.
Absolutely. And while shortcuts might seem tempting, it's often the longer, more challenging path that leads to the most fulfilling and sustainable results.
It sounds like Sonia has learned this firsthand through her own experiences on YouTube.
It's a great reminder that even seasoned creators are constantly learning, adapting, and refining their strategies as they navigate this ever-changing world of online content creation. It's a never-ending process.
So we've seen the potential benefits and the very real risks of Sonia's method. What are your initial thoughts? What can we take away from all this?
Well, it definitely highlights this tension, doesn't it? This push and pull between trying to game the system for short-term gains and the importance of building a genuine audience through original content.
It's like a constant balancing act.
Exactly. And I think it's a reminder that real success on YouTube requires a multifaceted approach, utilizing different content formats and strategies while staying true to your creative vision.
It's about finding that sweet spot between playing the algorithm and playing to your strengths.
And ultimately, it emphasizes that building a successful YouTube channel is a journey, not a destination. It takes patience, dedication, and a willingness to learn and adapt along the way.
Sonia does offer some additional insights into how she uses this method and the steps she takes to minimize the risks. Let's dig into that a bit more in the next part of our deep dive.
Definitely. I'm curious to hear what she has to say about her specific process and see if we can glean any more valuable tips from her experience.
It's interesting how Sonia frames this whole thing. It's like this approach is a means to an end, not the end goal itself.
Yeah, it's not about staying in that borrowed content lane forever.
Exactly. She even says something like, get your foot in the door, but then build your house on solid ground.
And she keeps hammering home that point. It's a temporary boost, not a long-term strategy.
It's like she's practically begging people to switch gears once they hit 2,000 subscribers.
Almost like she's seen what happens when you rely on shortcuts for too long.
She even says those borrowed shorts could actually hurt your channel in the long run if you leave them up.
That's wild. So it's not just about ethics, but also about the potential damage to your growth.
It's like you're building on sand, looks good at first, but won't last.
Makes sense. And she's super clear that if you want real YouTube money, it's got to be those long-form videos.
She even says those are the only videos that'll pay you very well.
Compared to the tens of dollars from shorts alone, that's a big difference.
Right. It's like she's saying, shorts are a snack, but you need a full meal for energy.
Good analogy. And then she goes on about finding your own style, your voice, something unique.
It's that shift from quantity to quality. That's what she sees as the key to a YouTube channel that lasts.
And not just any content, but stuff that really speaks to a certain audience.
This is where she gets even more interesting. It's about understanding your audience, what they want.
Figuring out what value you can offer, what problems you can solve.
It's way deeper than just chasing trends. It's about making something meaningful.
And interacting with your audience, building those relationships.
She even tells stories about how she connects with her own viewers, making it personal.
It's like she's saying, yeah, get noticed, use strategies, but it's the human connection that really matters.
And she's big on patience, too. Building a channel takes time and work.
It's a long game, right?
Yeah.
And she actually encourages people to see setbacks as chances to learn.
That's a good mindset. It's not about winning, it's about getting better.
Exactly. And she talks about being yourself, not trying to fit some mold of what you think a YouTuber should be.
She wants people to embrace their own quirks, let their real personality show.
In a world full of content, that's what makes you stand out, that authenticity.
And she even gives tips on finding your niche, that sweet spot between what you love and what people want.
It's a mix of strategy and soul searching. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not just luck. It's about putting in the work and really understanding your audience.
But she's also realistic. YouTube changes all the time. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow.
It's like she's saying, gotta be ready to adapt. Things are always in motion.
Good advice for anyone trying to do their thing online, not just YouTube.
So Sonia started with this whole borrowed content thing, ethically iffy, but her bigger message is much deeper.
Yeah, those shortcuts might get you somewhere, but it's originality and real connections that build something that lasts.
It's like the takeaway is, the most satisfying path is one you pave with your own creativity and passion.
And enjoying the journey itself, the ups and downs, that's where the magic is.
Right, YouTube's about sharing stories, finding your people, making your voice heard.
It's a reminder that even with all the algorithms and stuff, human connection is at the heart of it all.
The way she balances strategy with authenticity is pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it's like she's saying, learn the rules of the game, but don't let it take over.
Use those strategies to get noticed, but create content you're truly passionate about.
It's tricky, but she seems to have found that balance through her own ups and downs on YouTube.
She even admits she's struggled with it, that pressure to conform while still being true to herself.
It shows that even experienced creators deal with this. It's a constant process.
And she's big on finding the joy in it all, not letting the pressure kill the passion.
That's so important, especially when you're just starting out. It's easy to get lost in the numbers.
Totally. But it's that passion, that creativity, the connection with your audience. That's the good stuff.
That's what makes it worthwhile. And that's a message worth spreading, finding the joy, embracing the challenges, remembering the human side of it all.
It's been really interesting seeing how her thinking has changed over time.
Right. First, it was all about that fast growth. Now it's about building something that lasts.
Borrowed content to start, then a big shift to authenticity and real connections.
Like she realized that true success isn't about gaming the system.
It's about making something meaningful that resonates with people, something that reflects your own voice.
They're being patient, persistent, adaptable, knowing that it takes time to build something great.
It's a more holistic approach to YouTube, thinking about the numbers, but also the human element.
Really valuable perspective for anyone trying to make their mark on the platform.
Sonia's journey has a lot to teach us.
For sure. It reminds us that success isn't a straight line.
There's going to be bumps along the way.
But if you stay true to yourself, focus on those real connections, you can build something amazing.
So as we go deeper into her story, let's think about how her lessons apply to us.
Let's explore what it takes to navigate this ever-changing world of YouTube, the challenges and the opportunities.
I'm excited to keep digging into it with you. You know, through all this, what's really stuck with me is that idea of the long game.
It's kind of the opposite of where she starts, right? Like first it's all fast growth, but by the end, it's about building something that lasts.
Yeah, that's it. That initial boost is cool, but what matters is what comes after.
And that's where the borrowed content thing gets even trickier. If you want a channel that's going to stick around, you need trust. You need authenticity.
Totally. If your early wins are built on someone else's work, how strong is that foundation really? Feels shaky.
And that's why she keeps going back to original content. She even says she regrets using this strategy on some of her channels.
Whoa, so she's actually cleaning up that borrowed content mess now.
It sounds like it. It's a good lesson for all of us. Those short-term gains can backfire.
Like she's saying, learn from my mistakes, folks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
YouTube, any creative thing, really. It's a marathon. Those shortcuts are tempting, but the real satisfaction comes from making something that's truly yours.
So let's say we are in it for the long haul. What actually builds a channel that can last?
First thing that pops into my mind, knowing your audience. Who are they? What do they actually care about?
Not just chasing what's trending, but finding that overlap between what you love and what they want.
Exactly. Could be solving problems, sharing knowledge, making them laugh, but there's got to be a purpose behind it.
And it's not enough to just throw the content out there. You got to build community, talk to your viewers, make them feel like they're part of it.
Responding to comments, having real conversations, that back and forth, that's what builds those connections.
It's creating a space where people want to be, not just watching passively.
Right. And can't forget the P word, patience. This doesn't happen overnight. It takes work, it takes consistency, and always being willing to learn more.
No magic formula either. It's about finding what works for you, your people, your niche.
What works for a gamer might not work for a baker, and that's fine. The fun is in experimenting, finding your own groove.
So Sonia's shortcut might seem appealing, but we got to think long term. Think about those ethical lines too.
Building your success off someone else's stuff is just inherently risky. Might work for a bit, but originality, those genuine connections, that's what lasts.
Sounds like the takeaway is the best path on YouTube is the one you create with your own creativity, your own passion.
Exactly. And it's about enjoying the ride, the ups, the downs, the whole thing. That's where the real magic is.
Well, that's our deep dive into this whole world of fast YouTube growth. We looked at the strategies, the ethical stuff, and how to find a path that's both effective and feels good.
It's a wild world out there, and hopefully this gives you some new things to think about on your YouTube journey.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Can't wait to see what you create